we doing? And welcome to another episode of Muscle Matters. I know a lot of you are expecting part 2 to the evolution of muscles, but my co-host Fratwell had something to come up with him. So today what we're going to talk about is it's a little more Christ-inspired, and we're going to say navigating the devil's playground in the gym. With this being so close to the 4th of July, I think I should have wore red, white, and blue. I mean,
I got blue on.
I didn't think about it till I got here, and I was like, wait, we're doing this right in front of the 4th. And hey, while you're out there, just remember one thing: freedom is not free. There's a lot of people that paid with their lives. A lot of families lost their families. There's a lot of broken homes because of before that. So this 4th of July, take a hot second. Shake a soldier's hand if you know one, and tell them thank you very much for your service.
Remember, be grateful, all those things. Yeah.
Yes.
That's funny. I didn't think about it being right before the 4th either. The time goes by so fast, and you just like.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna show off my Star Wars shirt since people around here like the Acolyte. So I was, wearing my Star Wars shirt, and so
I can proudly say that I haven't watched the Acolyte. Because it's a Disney property.
You're not missing
so I don't watch any of those.
You're not missing anything. Well, nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. I watch it because it's a train wreck. And I have to watch every week to figure out exactly how much worse they can ruin this the timelines and all the canon and the legend. It's just every week it's just like it's just worse. Like you can headbutt a lightsaber now.
Huh?
Yeah, you can headbutt a lightsaber.
Like the light part or the
and if you headbutt it just right, it turns off.
What?
Yes. So now today's episode is going to be navigating the devil's playground. So some of the things I've dealt with, there's a lot of, how do I say this? You not every person believes in the gym and they will talk bad to you. So we'll start off with there first. I've been accused by certain people in the ministry that the gym is my God.
I don't think so.
It was just one of those when they said it, I was like,
well, I think if someone's saying that, they don't. It's funny. We talked about this in life group on Sunday afternoon. We talked about judgment, right? And people judging people, and like actually, part of what was talked about, and we missed this sermon because like we go to a life group, and then we were at VBF because my kids wanted to go there. The life group was actually at Valley Baptist, but the sermon they were talking about judgment and how actually judging others is like it's a form of blasphemy because you're basically saying like God's judgment isn't good enough, and number 2, it's also like you're undermining God and like trying to usurp his authority. But I would also say that anybody, like I know you pretty well, Steve. Anybody that's going to say, well, the gym's your God, like they clearly don't know you. So like you're judging somebody like based on your assumptions. You like to work out. I like to work out too, Steve. Does that mean that the gym's my God?
That's like somebody that's into their education. Somebody might say the education,
college is your God.
Yeah, education is your God. I mean, it's just something that you're into.
Well, we got 3 college kids in the other room, and I don't think that you would say that about them either because they clearly love the Lord.
Yeah, and that's where people confuse dedication, and a lot of times you have people, and we're staying on the devil's playground. A lot of people will speak negativity into something positive.
Yeah, right.
And it's really hard because what you end up wanting to do, you want to say something back.
Yeah.
And as a man of God, that's not your place to be. As a woman of God, that's not your place to be. You're supposed to allow God to go to work because you have to be a witness at all times.
Well, what I've seen, Steve, is and continuing on that topic was anytime that someone tries to come against me and I try to stand up for myself, I end up looking like the jerk, right?
9 times out of 10.
But anytime that I'm like, you know what, I'm going to continue to do the right thing and just be who I'm going to be. I'm not going to change for the other person, but I'm also not going to, I'm going to just let it be. God comes back and that vengeance, the Bible says the vengeance is the Lord's, right?
Yeah. You look at any sports contest, who gets in trouble? It's the person who retaliates.
Right.
Every single time.
Yeah. Well, same thing on the playground, right?
Yes. Every single time. So a lot of times so we'll stay on the subject of the gym is my God. And it's because I have a healthy obsession, and I think it's a healthy obsession to this sport of bodybuilding. It's part of my day. It's part of my makeup. It's what I really like to do. So a lot of people will label that as a godly jeepers. What's the spirit that I should have been more prepared with this. It's the spirit of like when you want to do something, it's a spirit of lust. So it's less of a different direction. And I'm wanting to vanity. There we go. It's a spirit of vanity because I'm being, I'm trying to build up my temple on the outside to have a look at me. And a lot of people will like, you hear it a lot. It gets preached out a lot. You're doing too much. You're doing too much. You're doing too much. Well, what is too much?
Well, so I had a conversation with and you and I have talked about this many times too, Steve. I had a conversation with my dad last night. We went in a family event, and the last time I saw him was like a month or so ago, and I was like really lethargic and low energy and everything. I was like, what's wrong with me? And then last night I seen him and I was like full of energy. I was like, oh, it's 9 o'clock, it's bedtime, but I'm not like exhausted and lethargic like I was. And I think the difference was, and it might be a little bit the supplements too, but I've been working out regularly. And so like I worked out with Blake and I told you about that. Like it kicked my butt, but like
you felt good.
I felt good. I did what you told me to do and what he told me to do.
Has all these things that endorphins and things that go out, the natural high, you hear runners that talk about their run high. They feel good while they're out there running. It's no different than, and it's like when you're praying, you find a place to be and you find connection with God. When I work out now, I listen to a preaching.
Yeah.
So
I know you do.
And it's cool because I can sit there and it gives me, for that 2.5 hours, I'm in tune to God. So I'm listening to preaching. So, it's funny that, they say that I'm a spirit of vanity because I'm building this thing up, but you look around the church and you see more spirit of, it's more spirit of what's the opposite of obesity? What is that word? Gluttony.
Oh yeah. That's not the opposite of obesity. That's like
you see
synonymous with obesity.
Yeah. So you see a lot of gluttony in churches. You see a lot of people that are, they're in, remember we're talking about different things here. So, and it's where I'm like, okay, I go to the gym, I work out, but you stay at home and you have more health issues. So how am I the wrong person because this is what I choose to do?
Well, but that's also part of your career, part of your identity, all of those things, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, like you're a little bit outside of the norm, but also that is like your chosen career path, right? So that's like if I chose to run a media company or an IT company or all this stuff, and all I ever did was go hiking, well, then there'd be something wrong with that, right?
You know what's going on in your business,
right?
And then you look at we're going to come to the subject everybody's waiting for. Hold your brakes. And then you come to different things. Now comes the problem is when you're working out, and there's a spirit. Most people that are doing the bodybuilding, you're not early on. There's not a lot of God in it, because you have to do certain things in order to be good at it.
Yeah,
and it really. You can't really put God in that place because so many things that go on there. So there becomes a lot of temptation in the gym. So there's temptations that take it to the extremities, which is, is a lot of problems. It's the extremities. But once again, those extremities allowed me to have a family business, allowed me to travel the world, allowed me to go places. It allowed a lot of doors to open for me. It allowed me to do a lot of things, taking it to the extremity. So that was my path that God had set for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you go to the gym, you have to be very careful about falling into pitfalls.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, and like we talked about before, like you and I both see both sides of that, right?
Yes.
Because we both have a strong woman in our life that likes to go to the gym also. And we're also men that are attracted to women. Yes. Right. So
you want to jump on that subject?
Yeah, that's where we're going.
Right? We're gonna stick on the lustful subject. So Devil's Playground. Now, when you're working out, you're admitting testosterone, both male and female.
Yep.
Females have testosterone in them, and there's pheromones that are going out.
Yep.
So now comes the hardest part of navigating the Devil's Playground, because you've got half-dressed men and you have half-dressed women. And the Bible literally says we war with our flesh.
We do.
I mean, I've been reading this whole chapter on Paul, the Corinthians, and it was the whole thing where, sexual misconduct in the church. So we're at war with the flesh 24/7. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about being at war with the flesh. So when you walk into the devil's playground, there's plenty of flesh to see. And most of the flesh that you're seeing is flesh that is in shape, be it male or female. It is a peak. Most of them are at peak performance when you're looking around. You're looking, and it's just human nature. Now, human nature is the look. The sin is in the stare.
Right.
So when you go to these places, don't ever beat yourself up because you look to the left. Go read Corinthians. Paul wrote this whole big thing to the church, and it's all on the flesh, and it's just part of being human. If you're unable to avoid temptation like that, then the gym's not for you. You would spend more time praying.
Work out at home.
Work out at home. Spend more time praying.
But my Ludavia, and I know Priscilla is not the same because she's more of a competitive athlete and stuff.
But still,
but I mean, she gets it. But where we go, Ludavia can go to the women's only section, and she makes a point to do that. She's like, I hate when the guys look at me and they do all this stuff, and I don't, Steve. I think I've been fortunate enough to have kind of walked with God for a long time.
Yes.
So I don't. Not to say that I'm never tempted, because we all are, right? But I'm not one of those creepy guys.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
They're
so I don't think that way.
They're in there, and
Oh, they are. Well, the thing is, there's both guys and girls that go to the gym to get picked up on or to pick up on others.
Oh my goodness!
Right?
Ever tell you the story about because I was one of the managers of one of the gyms in town. They were calling for the lady over the intercom. She didn't answer her kid had a mess on himself, and they couldn't find her. Ended up having to call the husband. The husband came down to check on he had to leave work to check on his child.
Wow.
They ran the cameras back. She dropped the child off and walked out the door with,
Wow.
So it's people go to the gym for other reasons, but
that's not the norm.
It's like, you can pump gas.
Right.
And so for women, it's a little harder because women don't stare at men the way men stare at women.
Yeah.
Like men will full on have drool coming down the side of their face, like, hey, stop it. So I do feel bad for women. Priscilla gets away with a little bit more because she does have a gorilla for a boyfriend, and she'll give me like a hey look. Mm-hmm. And I'll lean over, and most guys are like, "Oh no, they'll walk off.
I'm out."
Yeah, so she's a little more blessed in that department of not having to be hit on so much. And we also have, that's one of the great things about Nats Power. But all gyms are sleazebag gyms, so
there's dirt bags everywhere you go.
Yes, so
even at church.
Yeah,
yeah. Another topic for another day.
Corinthians, just read that book. So it's real. So there's temptations everywhere. It's just, it's just a matter of what you do with temptation. And it's just, I have found one of the easiest way to deal with temptations is just say, there's one God, and his name is Jesus. Put myself back in the right perspective of life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I know for me, when I go to the gym, I make a point to look at the ground.
I stare off into space.
Yeah.
Half the time I'm staring off in space. I've had people look at me like, what? And I'm like, bro, I wasn't even looking at you. I'm staring in space.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing some sort of 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers in my head, trying to figure out what I'm gonna do in my next set. I'm trying to figure out if I'm dying in between sets. I am not looking at anybody in the gym.
But then you got the other side of the girls that think that you're looking at them when you're not.
Happened to me and Ed the other day.
Yeah.
So Ed and I were having a conversation in the gym, and I was doing fantasy football season, and we were walking away, and we have a group of guys, and we talk a lot of we're guys. It's, you don't want to see the group chat. And I think Ed and I were playing each other that week, and he said something smart, and I came back and I said something smart. So we were arguing with each other in a joking way across a treadmill, and the young lady on the treadmill turned around and yelled at us and said, "Stare much?" And I was like, me and Ed are like, "What are you talking about? We're having a conversation." And then when she realized, And now she felt little because like no,
she felt like a jerk because she was being a jerk.
Yeah, we're into other things. We're
like, oh, we didn't even notice you there. Hi.
Pretty much. We're two brothers that have known each other since we were 17.
Right.
Yes. So, and unfortunately, that's a lot of the things that go on at the gym. Like I said, I hate that the gym gets such a bad rap, and so especially in the Christian community. Now, recently, you see a lot more pastors that are in shape.
Well, I think there's multiple things behind that, Steve. But I think you see leaders of all kinds being more in shape, yes. Right? Because I think high performance individuals, just in general, they want to be high functioning in all areas of their life. But also, there's something about being high performing in being fit, physically fit, eating right, doing all those things that lends itself to better performance outside of the gym as well.
Yeah, well, not to mention the body emotion stays emotion,
right?
And you know, you look at RFK Jr. Have you seen him?
The other night I saw him. Yeah.
Have you seen him shirtless?
No.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd want to.
No, RFK Jr. stacked.
Oh, is he?
Yes. Yes, he had my vote just because he was jacked working out of Venice. Yeah, it's a meathead. It's an easy way to get a meathead vote. Flex your bicep, meathead. We will vote for you.
He's probably more jacked than the other two. I mean, that's not saying much. One's a skeleton and one's
jacked. All right. Yeah. So, like I said, I love the gym, and I hate that it gets such a bad rap. It's the devil's anywhere you want it to make it to be. I mean, what are some of the other things we could talk about? I mean, you look at obsession. So you can become obsessed with the gym. So it can borderline on eating disorder. So you have to really watch yourself. I argue with a lot of youngsters all the time.
You and Tom could talk about that for days, right?
Yes, it's an eating disorder because I tell people all the time, enjoy the way you eat, enjoy your life, eat healthy, eat smart. You don't want to eat like a bodybuilder. That stuff is whack. I've been doing it for years. It's like people come in and see my chicken and they're like, bro, is that it? And I'm like, yeah, I've been eating like this for 30 years.
Like there's a fork with it.
Every now and then I'll put some sriracha on it, but it's just plain chicken. You know, that's no way to go through life. You don't want to develop those habits. You know, you want to be able to eat good food. You want to eat healthy, just like when you do your studies. You don't want to be so devoted to one part of the study that it's like being devoted to the Old Testament and missing the New Testament. You want to be a well-rounded person that got it out, and that's all it is. So this kind of went quicker than I thought it would when we navigate in the devil's playground.
No, all good, dude. But I think it's easy to get addicted to working out, right? And I would say there was a time when I was too.
It's a very good addiction. There's other things you could be addicted to. I think working out, it's healthy.
But it's a chemical release in your body, right?
Endorphins. All kind of great things go off in your body when you work out. Just, like I said, it's a great place to meditate on the Lord. Because you put your headphones on, most people will leave you alone. Where can you go in your house and not be bothered?
In my house, I got 3 little kids, bro.
Exactly. You can't go anywhere and not be bothered.
I beg them to be quiet. Sometimes they are for like 30 seconds straight.
And let's face it, when you come home from work, what are you doing when you walk in the door from work? You're looking to that right there.
Yeah.
That's the breath you're looking to do, and you're looking to do anything but think. You want to take your brain, you want to set it on the shelf and be like, I'll deal with you tomorrow. Especially if you work a labor job. If you're somebody who's out there swinging a hammer, picking up labor, the last thing you want to do is you just want to come take a shower and sit down.
Yeah. Well, I know for me, when I go home, I got 4 people that are vying for my attention.
Mm-hmm.
And every single one of my kids is like, oh, can we go on a date? Can we go, because we do, daddy daughter dates or daddy son dates. And they're like, oh, can you take me somewhere? Can you take me somewhere? Or you got Michael, I told you he's obsessed with working out now.
Good.
He won't stop, dude.
Good.
He's been working out with Blake though. And
that's a good place for him to be because he's going to be athletic.
I think he's got the build for it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But he's motivated. And I think this is one thing that like I've always kind of tried to keep in the forefront of my mind is like, I'm not the dad that's going to push my kid, like try to live out my childhood fantasies or whatever through my kid and through their performance. But if he wants to do it, I'm going to hold him accountable to doing the things that he said he wants to do and performing well. But I'm also not sitting here looking at him and, you know, thinking, oh, you're going to be an Olympic wrestler, or you're going to be a D1, you know, football player or whatever, or an NFL player. Like, could he do it? Yeah. But also, I don't think that that's the most important thing, because for me, watching him, it's like what the perseverance, the persistence, the character development, and all of those things that are being built inside of him. And you know, I've been sharing this more recently, but my old football coach reached out to me because I posted something online, and he's like, oh, there's a future you know, defensive end, you know, and I was like, oh, well, you know, my kids are gonna be better than I was in high school. He's like, well, that's gonna be tough because you know, you had all these accomplishments and this and that. But
what's cool thing is there's a statement out there. Your dad is the only person on this planet that will be proud that you outdo him.
Yeah, right.
And that's literally the same thing you said. I hold the kids accountable. If you say you want to do something, get up and do it.
Yeah.
You can't ask me twice, because if you don't do it the first time, bro, you're not going to do it. I'm going to make sure you get up and make sure you do it. Make sure you go outside. Make sure you play whatever it is, you got to put your effort into it.
Yeah.
Either you'll enjoy playing it or you'll be good at playing it. But either way, you're going to play. But I think sports are great for children.
Oh, they're fantastic. But I don't actively like talk to people like, hey, you're doing it wrong or whatever. You know, that's not my place. But what I would say is, as a parent, like if you're the one pushing your kid to do it and they don't want to do it, that's a bad place to be.
You have to know your limitations, and you have to know your child.
Right.
Some kids are just happy to be on the team.
Right.
And that's
socialization, and yeah.
Cool. I'm happy you're on the team. You don't want to shoot some extra baskets afterwards? No, I'm good. All right, yeah. But at least you're being social active. And like I said, I think I think all children should have some sort of after school activity that holds them accountable for grade point average, holds them accountable for character development, and just keeps them out. I mean, kids are going to get into mischief no matter what. But if you're part of a program, you're being in mischief gets you kicked off the program.
Right. But I think it's a regular repeat. Like, you know, I can't speak to music. I was talking to my wife the other day about, you know, I think, in my opinion, I'm sure, you know, and if you are out there watching, you want to argue with me, fine, go ahead, you know, let us know. But I think, in my opinion, sports is actually better than music. I think music is good as well. Like it stimulates other things. But I think you can't build that push through the mental toughness and everything else. I don't think, in my opinion, in music that you can in sports.
Now, I didn't want to play the piano. They made me play the piano. And don't, Mom, if you're watching, I didn't mean like you made me play the piano. Mongo have stone hands. Yeah. I used to get in I went to a Catholic school. So the piano I didn't know that. Yes. So the piano, you're supposed to play with your fingers up.
Uh-huh.
Mongo has heavy hands. Them hands would be like this every time, and I get smacked with a ruler to get my wrist up. I would have been a better drum player. Now, I do believe music stimulates a certain side of the brain for intellect. So there's nothing wrong with music. I think a child should be well-rounded and have a musical class, have a drama class, have a choir. I mean, even if your kid sings horrible, they should be in something that forces them. Like my youngest nephew, Simon, he does. They just did the play this weekend, and I was in awe. Simon, when he was a kid, would stand behind me. He would not speak to anybody. He wouldn't look at you. He'd bury his head in my arms. And they've been doing. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the name of the plays of the group, but they've been in this group now for 3 years, and I'm videotaping it. I'm not really paying attention, and I'm thinking it's the oldest singing. And I realize, I go, wait, that's Simon's voice. He opened up singing. He was the lead singer in the first 5 minutes of the play, and I was like, oh, and I was so proud, because this is a boy who would hide behind me. He wouldn't speak to you. If you walked in, he wouldn't acknowledge you. We used to do like my oldest nephew. He's been all the goofy videos I do for the store. He's been there watching me, and he's just like, bruh, move. If he could kick me out the way, he'd kick me out the way. Mm-hmm. He does. He's got his own little video vlogs and the whole 9 yards. But watching Simon develop, that's why I said I think he should have something where the children should have some sort of activity where they have to step out of their boundaries and do something like that. Yeah. Like whenever the kids are with me, I make them order their food. I know. You tell the lady what you want to eat. You have to speak. You have to speak. If you don't speak, you'll never get far in life. So I make it a point to make sure that they speak out. So, you're doing your child a disservice if you speak for them.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I've been like that with my kids since they were little, because how many teenagers or even like young adults do you see?
They can't talk.
They don't know how to communicate with people.
Yes. And I just think it's very important. How do we get off topic? But I hope this was a really good episode of Devil's Playground. Didn't quite go as long as where I thought it would go. We blew through it really easy. I don't think this was the conversation we were supposed to have. I don't think God wanted that conversation to be out there, because we jumped ship into the children. It was much better jumping in the children. And I think we'll save a future episode. Let us know what you think in the comments. We'll save a future episode of raising up a child in a competitive sports world.
Ooh, I love that one, Steve.
I think that'd be a good one. So you and I can sit down and do that one again. Well,
yeah,
and
we should get Blake to come in for that one too.
That would be awesome. It would be a good three, a good sit down,
because he trains all of them.
Yes, and he gets to see, he would be able to tell you, like the way I talked about how Simon came out of his shell. He'd be able to tell you how he had certain athletes that could come in, and he just got them to come out of their shell. And there's a lot of I'm gonna ramble on about this because I have so many different
gripes, Steve.
So many different gripes about how parents who overprotective of their children. Your child's got to get mollywopped. If they're in sports, they've got to get mollywopped. They got to get up. Don't pick your child up. Let them cry it out a little bit. Slap them on the butt. Nothing's broken. Get back out there. If you take your child and you coddle them the first time they get hit in the mouth, they're never going to know how to respond to life when life hits them in the mouth.
We started that at a young age. I don't know if I ever told you this story, but there was a time when Michael, Michael, he was like probably 2 or something, just learning to walk. Maybe it was before he was 2. And like he fell down and he like hit his head and he like looked over at mom like, am I okay? And she was in a group of moms and all the other moms were like, aren't you gonna rush over and take care of your kid? And she was like, he's fine. She's like, get up, Michael. And he was like, got up and he was like, just walked away. But that's how we always raised him.
Yes.
So because we're not raising no weenies.
Yes. Especially if you're raising a man child. You need to have. You're raising somebody that's going to be responsible for somebody's in plural. At some point, the man becomes, and there's a lot of beef over this, but at some point, the man becomes the head of the household.
That's biblical.
No woman wants to get up at midnight to walk outside to see what's going on, and the man is hiding in the bedroom. I mean, so you're raising.
You mean the boy?
You're raising somebody that's going to be responsible for somebody's.
Yeah.
So let us know in the comments on some of the things you would like us to talk about, because we're really going to do this raising a child in a competitive world. I like that. I really want to do that.
A great one.
Raising a child in a competitive world.
I think that could be a whole series, Steve.
Yes. You, me, Blake, we could sit down and really shoot through this one. So if you're watching this, leave a comment. Let us know some of the things you would like to talk about. And once again, Mike, you want to send us home?
Yeah. So the other thing is, Steve, I want to talk to you about this, but we're gonna start doing some stuff to have some more listener involvement in some of the shows in the future as well. So be watching for that. I can't completely divulge on air what that is yet, but I think you guys are gonna like it. We're gonna start building community. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Have a great day. God bless.